This is the game of the week, and a couple of things I'd like to point out. In this game, black takes white's queen very early in the game, which I call a scalp. If you can take your opponent's queen for something less than another queen, I pass out scalps. And if you get a scalp in a chess game, you should pretty much be able to win the game fairly easily. But I notice a lot of chess club players, once they earn their opponent's queen and they get a scalp, a lot of times they'll give the game back to the opponent. And in this game, black almost gives the game back to white again. In fact, later on in the game, black gives up his own queen for something less than another queen. And I see that happen a lot. So hopefully, while watching this game, you'll be able to understand how you can still win a chess game when you win the opponent's queen by not having to let the other person get back into the game. The game starts off with white moving the pawn up 2 squares, and I tell chess players that either the E pawn or the D pawn is a great start to a chess game, so there's nothing wrong with that move. Black attacks the pawn right away, and so white has to decide if they're going to do anything about the threat or if they're just going to leave it alone. When I look at chess games, I like to look at the mentor lines here, and you can see the top 5 moves that white could make. The number 1 move, oh, now you see it changes. So right here, the number 1 move would be D5. Number 2 move would be E4. Number 3 move would be knight to F3. Number 4 move now is bishop to F4. Number 5 move is knight to C3. And again, it's personal preference. White goes ahead and moves the pawn here to this point, which it's not a problem because if black were to take that pawn, then white would just go ahead and take the knight right back. So it's not a real strong threat there. Black threatens again. And now white has to ask himself, what is the threat? Because if black takes the pawn now, white can't recapture with the queen because the black knight is protecting it. And again, you can look at the mentor lines. It's the reason why I like to use the mentor lines in the game. And it gives the top 5 moves that white could possibly make. Here you can see the best move for white would have been to take the black pawn. Knight would have take back and the score would be 1-1. But instead, white develops another piece, and when you look at the score here, you see a negative score. Negative score means that black is ahead. A positive score means that white is ahead. So black's number 1 move is to take that pawn with either the other pawn or the knight, but it gives black the advantage. Not a big advantage, but a little one. And so black goes ahead and takes with that pawn. White responds by moving the other pawn. And I encourage chess players not to move those pieces. I apologize for getting way ahead of myself. There we go. I tell chess players not to move either of these 3 pawns on either side unless if they absolutely have to. A better idea would be to develop these pieces, and I encourage chess players to try to get these stronger pieces off the back rank and get them into the battlefield before moving these pawns here. And if you look at the mentor lines, the best moves are knight, queen, which I think is a little bit early for the queen. I wouldn't do that, but that's what the computer suggests. But white instead moves another pawn. And you can see now the score for black is getting a little bit higher. Black decides to put a tempo or an attack on the bishop here. It's a little bit early to be attacking in a chess game, and you can see black's score has gone way down. I always encourage chess players, again, to get these stronger pieces off the back row. Get the knight into the game. Get the bishop into the game. Develop this pawn and get the other bishop. Don't worry about the attack until the strong pieces are out into the chessboard. But since black did that, white now has to think, what is the threat? You can see the best move here for white would have been move queen to take the pawn. Because if the white queen took the pawn, if black went ahead and took the bishop, then the queen could take the bishop and win the exchange 4 points to 3, and the game would pretty much be tied again. White developed another pawn. And again, I encourage chess players not to move the pawns too much. And you can see now that black is now ahead by more than a full point. And here the number one move for black would be to take that bishop, and then the white pawn would take back, which is, 3 points for 3 points, which is a pretty good trade, but black also has a pawn as well, and so that would keep the advantage. Instead, black did what I call an in-between move, because black can capture this bishop by putting the king in check. White has to respond by blocking that threat. And so whatever white does, black's going to be able to take advantage of it. It's not a very good check because white right here, if you look at the, well, it's not the number one move anymore. But the number two move is the one I was thinking of. The bishop could just go right here and attack right back. And so, these chess games can be pretty confusing. White does a very strange move. White tries to protect the king by putting the queen in the way, by blocking. And you can see that that is not a very good idea at all. And of course, black is not going to give up an opportunity to take the queen. So black takes the queen, there's the scalp, white recaptures, and you can see now that black has a lead of almost 8 points. And black should be able to cruise to a win in this game. But black gets very sloppy. And again, I see a lot of chess players get really sloppy when they get way ahead in a chess game. And so my goal is to try to teach chess players how to maintain that huge advantage when they are ahead in a game. We'll see how this game develops. Here you can see bishop taking c4 is still a really good move, and black still has a lot of pieces here on the back rank that haven't even gotten out into the chess game yet. But what black does is moves another pawn, and you can see that this score is going down. Black's pieces are all hemmed in right here. They can't get out, and black needs to do something to open that up. Number one move here, and if you look over here on the score, it's called the game status window. You can see move number 8 is c takes d3, which is pawn here takes d3, and if you look at the mentor lines, that's actually the second best move. So white actually does a pretty good job there, and that is a good move by white. White almost had to make that move. If you look at the next move here for black up on the game status, you'll see it is knight takes d3, and it looks like there's a check there. So knight take d3, put the king in check. But if you look here on these windows for the top moves, you don't see that move. It seems like it would be a good move, but that pawn is being protected by the bishop. So check, and white recaptures. And now look at the score. 3 points. So black was ahead by 8 and now is only ahead by 3. So just in a matter of a couple of moves, the game is getting really, really close again. You can see black's does knight to e7. If you look at the game status, okay, here is knight to e7 on the mentor lines, but you can see they're still losing points in this game. Black's are white's best move. You can see here at the game status, white played knight to a3. Knight to a3 is the number one move, so great job, white. So white's doing a good job of maintaining this game. See, black does that. That's actually in the top 5 moves, so that's okay. And I'm going to guess that this is a bad move here for white, because if you look at move number 11 in the game status, f4. And again, I encourage my chess players not to move their pawns early in the game. Try to get those strong pieces out. And okay, so white just, there's certain rules that seem to work every time. And it looks like, well, you can see from our mentor lines a lot of the moves. Queen to f6, number 1. You can see on the game status that's exactly what black did, was move right there. Another pawn attack, and again, look at what happened to the score. It's almost 7. So white has given that score right back to black again.